You ever open your phone, scroll through old photos, and suddenly think, wow, I don't recognize that person anymore? Same face, same name, completely different version. You used to tolerate things you'd never accept now. You laughed at jokes that don't land anymore. You stayed quiet in moments where today you'd speak up without thinking twice. And it's not dramatic, it's subtle, almost uncomfortable, like wearing clothes that technically still fit but feel wrong the moment you move. If that's been happening to you lately, you're not stuck, you're outgrowing yourself. And that process has a very specific psychology behind it. The first phase looks like confusion. You start feeling off in familiar places. Conversations feel repetitive. People you used to bond with now drain you, even though they haven't changed. You leave hangouts feeling tired instead of fulfilled and can't explain why. Psychologically, this happens when your internal values update faster than your environment. Your brain has learned new patterns, boundaries, and priorities, but your surroundings are still running an older version of you. That mismatch creates discomfort, not because anything is wrong, but because something is outdated. If you've been thinking, why does this feel weird now? That's usually the first sign growth already happened. Then there's the guilt stage. You start pulling back, saying no more often, being quieter in group chats, and almost immediately guilt shows up. You wonder if you're becoming selfish, cold, distant. You replay conversations in your head, asking yourself if you're being unfair. This guilt comes from identity attachment. For a long time, being available, agreeable, or low maintenance might have been part of who you were. Outgrowing that version feels like betrayal. But psychologically, guilt here isn't a signal you're doing something wrong, it's your nervous system adjusting to a new self-image. You're not hurting people on purpose, you're just no longer performing a role that kept you small. Then there's the loneliness phase, and this one hits quietly. You're not alone in the room, but you feel alone in the conversation. The jokes miss, the advice doesn't fit. You listen, but you're not fully there. And for a while, it feels like you lost people without actually losing them. This is where many people panic and try to shrink themselves back to who they were. But here's the twist. Loneliness during growth isn't about lacking connection, it's about transitioning between identities. You haven't met the people, habits, or environments that match the new version of you yet. You're between chapters, and the space between chapters is always silent. Another shift happens in how you see your past self. At first, you cringe. You judge old choices harshly. You think, why did I put up with that? Or how did I not see this sooner? But that judgment is actually proof of growth. You can only see past mistakes clearly once you've moved beyond them. Healthy growth doesn't erase your old self, it reframes them. That version wasn't weak, they were learning. They did what they could with the awareness they had at the time. If you're feeling compassion mixed with embarrassment, that's integration, not rejection. And finally, there's the calm phase. You stop needing to explain yourself. You don't announce your changes. You don't argue with people who still see you as who you were. You just move differently, quieter, more intentional, less reactive. This is when growth settles into identity. You choose peace over proving a point, alignment over approval, and your life starts feeling simpler, even if it's smaller for a while. Outgrowing old versions of yourself isn't loud. It doesn't come with applause. Most of the time, it feels like discomfort, distance, and doubt, until one day you realize you're no longer forcing yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant to grow with you. So ask yourself, what feels tight lately? What feels heavy for no clear reason? That's usually the part of your life that no longer belongs to who you're becoming. If this felt uncomfortably familiar, maybe it's not nostalgia you're feeling, maybe it's growth.